Well, thank you, Manager and Council members. Bob Weeks, Mayor, I'm sorry, and Council members, 2451 Regency Lakes Court in Wichita. First of all, I know we say that the city hasn't raised its mill levy in a long time, and I think it's true that this council has not taken action to raise that mill levy, but it has increased. In 2002, the city's mill levy was 31.845. Last year, 32.359. That's an increase of just about half a mill, or 1.6%. So somehow, somewhere, somehow, it has increased. And at the same time, we should also recognize that property tax revenue increased from about 83 to 118 million, or 42%. We didn't experience anything near that in the rate of growth of population or inflation, even the two put together. And the city's sales tax collections over the same years, 41 million to about 55 million, or 34% increase. So city revenues have increased quite a bit, even though the council has not taken explicit action to increase either the sales tax rate or the property tax rate. But another thing I'm concerned about is something that Council Member Meitzner and the mayor and the manager talked about earlier, is that shifting 1 mil of property tax revenue from the debt service fund to the general fund. Actually, it's worse than that. Here's a visual aid I prepared for us. The top line is the operating millage. In other words, the number of mills of the city's mill levy that's been going to operations, the general fund, I think that is. And the bottom line is the number of mills that's been going to debt service. Over the past 5 years, since 2007, there's really been a shift of about 2.5 mills, which is more than the explicit policy of 1 mill, which will be ending over the next 2 years. What this means is that, well, first of all, we've not delayed paying off debt in the sense that we've not made our scheduled bond payments, but that 2.5 mills could have been used to retire debt instead of supporting current spending. We could have repurchased some of our outstanding bonds, or we could have used that money to pay for things that we borrowed for. An example was we recently spent $400,000 on a project to analyze aging fire stations to see if they need renovation or replacement. Now, spending on fire stations, a long-term capital asset, that's the type of spending that is commonly financed by long-term debt. It makes sense, I think, to match up the life of the asset with the life of the financing. But in an analysis to see if we need new fire stations and if we need to renovate our existing fire stations, that's more like current spending to me, yet we've borrowed money, bonded money in order to pay for that $400,000. So I think we need to realize that we have been not taking advantage of opportunities to retire long-term debt and have been redirecting that spending to general current fund spending, which is where, for example, Cowtown and the Nature Center and things like that come from. So I don't really have a recommendation for us today, except just to be aware of these types of things as we make the policies going forward. And I believe we have time for questions if there are any.
Are there any questions?
I'm sorry.
Okay, don't have any question for you, but I do for Kelly. For Kelly on some of your calculation figures as to, you said the mill levy was increased, and Kelly, can you explain any of that?
Okay.
And if there's anything else about any of the other numbers that he's been providing us.
Okay, the mill levy, we did start out 10 mills, is that what you're talking about in the capital improvement plan? We did reduce that down to 7.5 mills, and now we are gradually increasing that mill levy back up in the debt service fund to 8.5 mills over the next 2 years.
Just a second, Kelly. Councilman O'Donnell?
But what I think, and can we have somebody look at this? They were referring to is that the mill levy has actually increased.
The overall mill levy has not increased. I mean, in the last 19 years, there has been a shift between the general fund and the debt service fund, but the overall mill levy of the 32 mills has not increased.
So that's the same. And Bob, could you come back? Where are your figures from?
Well, the 2011 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, which I think Mrs. Carpenter or somebody will present to you later in this meeting, page H17. There are the numbers that I extracted from that report. Again, it may not be that this council took an action to say, let's raise the mill levy, but somehow it did increase.
Okay. Now, Kelly, can you answer that?
Yes, sir, Mr. O'Donnell. The mill levy, as you may remember, is set by the county, and what we tell the council each year is that the mill levy in the proposed budget is not changed from the mill levy certified by the county the prior year. The fact of the matter is we don't know what the mill levy will be for 2013 right now, and we will not know until November when the county finalizes assessed valuation. So it may be slightly higher, it may be slightly lower. We never know that. So that's why you see those annual fluctuations. And he's right, some years it goes up, there's actually some years it actually goes down a little bit. But it does fluctuate, and there's really nothing we can do to control that. But the general policy has been to keep it level for the last 19 years.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Kelly or anyone? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to?